I like this intro so much. Really, this intro is amazing, and this is the reason why I've chosen this. I don't know. I got so many people asking, like, why? How have you done this? But we will keep the secret.
Yes, it's like a TV commercial a little bit, but it tells you actually what the product is doing.
I love it. We need to put this somewhere. But by the way, this is I don't know if this will be the last episode for the year for this weekly dev hour, but I'm happy because today I've almost, let's say, completed my collection. To complete the collection, I should be the guest and someone else should be the host. But I'm very happy to have here Nimrod Kramer. It has a very nice t-shirt, but also mine is not that bad. Let me show. So nice. I see there is also someone from Facebook. Nice. So welcome. And today we will explain to you how we decide which feature we decide which feature, how we deploy and develop a feature for Daily.dev. By the way, I've just done a video. We will not use a dice. By the way, this is a metal dice. Can you see that? Nice. This is a metal dice.
Wow.
If you are a Dungeons and Dragons fan, you know what I mean. Yes. So Nimrod, please, a little introduction of yourself. We did our first interview about 1 year ago. It was the 20th of January. I remember that. So a bit less than 1 year. And so, yes, little introduction. Who are you?
All right. So thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Nimrod Kramer, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Daily.dev. And if you are on this live stream and you don't know what Daily.dev is, then I will shortly tell you about it. But our mission is to build the homepage for every developer in the world. And big thing to say. And as a matter of fact, what we're doing on a day-to-day basis is that we help developers just like yourself to stay up to date on the latest news around tech, around software and development. So if you still don't know us, make sure to check this out. That's really a big shameless plug, but we're on the Daily Dev Weekly Dev show, so that's kind of legit. And I'm one of the co-founders of this company alongside with Ido and Tzachi, and now have an amazing team of 6 people, soon to be 7, with Francesco, my dear friend here, which is our developer advocate, and Chris, which is one of our software engineers, and Lee, which is the other software engineer. And soon we're going to have our 7th member joining us in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we know that 7 is also a cool number. So we have reached a cool number, 7. Yeah, there are a lot of things with the 7. But probably will improve, but I'm happy that soon will be even more. So if you're following this, so we will have soon another guest probably on this WeeklyDevHour on the next year. Probably we have to be completed. So nice. So this is great. Roll for Attack 1. I don't know. I have to find a way because maybe I should find another camera, but roll a nice 19. Okay, Nimrod. So I think that the features of a project are, let's say, from a technical point of view, they are super, super important. But the real problem is that a real project never ends. If you check like Twitter and Facebook, YouTube, they never ends. They keep adding feature. So I've seen a tweet, I think a couple of hours ago, who said like the best projects are the one who finished. But I don't think that there is any project in development which finishes. So I have not commented that, but I thought like, okay. Hey, Hooksen Web Dev. I think you are a web developer. Hi, welcome. He asks, which specific technology or programming language will you be focused on this channel? So on this channel, it depends, because we are focused, of course, on Daily.dev. We have amazing guests. We also have one today, and it depends. We have many videos about also how Daily.dev is created, about the stack. You can also this even in the first episode of this series. Don't go there now. Stay there. Stay here, because that video will be there. But yeah, feel free to ask us anything. Today we are focused on how can we choose a cool feature, because I don't know, if we had like unlimited time, unlimited resources, you can like deploy like, 10, 100 features at a time. But if you have limited resources, which is like 99.99% of the people in the world, I think, you have to decide. Or maybe if you have a limited resources, it's even harder to choose, because it's also a matter of time, integration. So you have to choose what you want to develop. And okay, so Nimrod, I don't know if you want to share your screen. I don't see your screen anymore, but I don't know if you want to share your screen. Can you explain us a little bit about how and which features? Because of course, so let's say I want to focus more on the how can we decide which feature to develop? Because once at least we have the feature, say, okay, so at least we have to do this, and we can divide the tasks between all the developers and the people in the company. But the first step is very hard, because if you do the I don't know, the wrong step, you can go really in the wrong direction. I hope that we'll hike together next year. And in that case, you have to work more, and that's okay. Maybe it's even good for our legs. But if we are deploying something, maybe it's not a good idea to go in the wrong direction. So, yes, please.
All right, so I think we should start from understanding like what kind of problem it is to choose a new feature. Like, how do we even get to a point where we need to choose? Why can't we just you need to have a lot of resources? So this goes without saying, but in the beginning, there is not so many ideas, right? So you have a bunch of ideas that you want to create, and you start, and it's very easy to prioritize. Let's say you have a backlog of tasks that has 10 tasks. So it's not really critical with which one you start, because you can just, over the course of several months, just build all the tasks. So I think the point where it comes really challenging is where you create a good product. So when you create a good product, then all of a sudden, all of your customers, all of the community members and the users are starting to ask a lot of ideas, a lot of features. Sudden, instead of having a backlog of 5 or 10 different ideas, you have a backlog of 500 ideas or 1,000 ideas. And then you get to a real problem. How do I choose?
Yeah. Or maybe we have a solution. We just develop just bad products, so we have solved this problem. This could be a solution.
So definitely, we can just build everything, and it will be a mess. It would look like Yahoo looked in the very early days, where it was just a page with so many.
If you are old enough, you know.
Yes. But if you're not old enough, by the way, there are websites that are storing historical versions of any website on the internet. So you can go ahead and, let's say, if you want to see how Yahoo looked like 10 years ago, so you can just go and
Twitter is shocking. Twitter is shocking. Have you seen the first version of Twitter? It's shocking. The first version of Twitter. Yes, and it was not many years ago. I think 15. Something like that. I can't remember that number.
Yeah. So like the first problem that you get to have, and it's a good problem, is that you have a lot of feature requests, you have a lot of ideas, and then you want to start prioritizing. So in Daily.dev, we're doing very broadly 2 types of categorization of features. All right. I'm gonna mention the two, and then we're gonna go in detail into each one. So one types of prioritization is that we ask ourselves, is this feature in front of us going to help us improve the current version of the product, to make the product become a better version of itself? Or is this feature helping us fulfill our vision as Daily.dev? And those two are very different from one another. Because features that are aiming to make your product better today tend to get more priority, right? But on the other hand, you always want to think, what is my 2.0 version? What is my 3.0? What is my 4.0? And how can I make dramatic improvements in the product? And usually when you start, the product solves a very small problem. It's a very, very narrow problem. And when you grow up and you want to expand the user base, you want it to address more broader problems, things that address large audiences. So in Daily.dev, we started with a very simple problem. And the problem is that it's very hard to stay up to date because it just takes a lot of time and effort. And the reasons for that are very wide. One reason is that there are so many publications for developers, right? There are so many blogs, so many newsletters, even a lot of aggregators and blogging platforms.
But let's see that this is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I mean, internet is full of information. It's amazing.
An amazing thing. Yeah. But in many cases, as a developer, it's very difficult to choose, like, which publication am I going to read? And there is a lot of FOMO involved. Like, what happens if I read this publication, but the interesting article is published on a different publication? So it's quite difficult to go around. This is one reason. The other reason is that today, and I think this is, again, a very good thing, on the internet, everybody can write. Every developer can become a blogger, right? And there is a huge variety of bloggers. There are bloggers that are experts in their domain, and there are bloggers that are just starting in development, and there are bloggers who are just documenting to learn more. So there are many, many types, and there are probably like another 100 types of bloggers. But from the reader perspective, not from the content creator, this creates a challenge, because what happens if I read an article and I didn't like it, or I read an article and I found something this is not accurate or is not quality enough? So by the time I read it, I already wasted a lot of time and energy that might prevent me from going on to the next piece. So we looked at it at Daily.dev and said, how can we solve this problem? We want to delight the readers. We want to create a very good experience for developers that want to consume content. So we said, all right, the first part of the solution is we want to put everything in one place. We're going to aggregate a lot of content from many different publications into one place. The second thing is, once you aggregate and you collect all the articles, you have a huge set of articles. So how do you rank them? How do you surface only the most interesting and most relevant stuff? And this is where the magic happens. This is where our ranking algorithm works to see what other developers read, what they liked, what they disliked, and tries to surface the most interesting articles above the fold to the higher places on the feed. So this is currently the problem that we solve. Now, going back to the discussion of how we choose features, so if we think about the first criteria of how can we solve the problem better, faster, more efficiently, so you can think about features that help you filter content and get more relevant content easily. You can think about ways to improve the ranking algorithm. You can think about a lot of stuff that eventually will make it easier to stay up to date. If I want to give a metaphor or an analogy to those kind of features, I usually say you have a horse. This horse helps you to get from point A to point B. And this is the problem. Like, the problem is that you can't get from A to point B, and you need a horse. So those set of features are aiming to create a faster horse, all right? But from a product designer perspective, or from the founder perspective, I right?
I
So
think we lost.
if I want to build a car, the car will also take me from point A to point B, but my car is the vision. It's not the current present. And I want to share my screen real quick to show you a slide that really emphasizes what is the difference.
We had a bit of connection issue, Huxen. Sorry, it's not your fault. Yeah, maybe we can ask to this, but I think you are in the right place. So stick with us. We will answer soon. Are you sharing your screen?
Now I'm going to share my screen, and I want to show you some slides that will demonstrate what is the difference between building products that that help.
What is value?
What is value? Yeah, this is. I'm going to start with a simple question. So value, the way that you solve a problem. So we talked about the problem in Daily.dev, which is staying up to date, and the value is a news aggregator that we aggregate all the content in one place, and the solution that we provide. And when you start to create value, we usually work in this kind of framework that is called MVP. MVP stands for minimum viable product. So the concept of this MVP is that on one hand, you want to create or a feature. It doesn't have to be an entire product. It can even be a feature that on the one hand is minimal. It doesn't require a lot of resources for development, but on the other hand, it's viable. It means that it has a certain functionality that actually helps. So the secret of building and shipping features is to try to find what is the MVP of the new feature, that on the one hand, it will be minimal, on the other hand, it will be functional. Then one of the very common mistakes is that when you build your product, you want in each version. If we look at can you hear me?
Like this, yeah.
Yes. So when you want to build the product, you want with each version to improve your product. So in this example, we see that the vision is to create a car. All right, this is like phase 5 in the bottom right corner. You want to create a car because you want to get from point A to point B faster. This is the problem that you have. You want to drive faster. And in most cases, we will start not from a car. We will start from something way more simple, like a skateboard or a scooter or a bike. And on one hand, you want to create features that will help you create a better skateboard. Like you want the wheels to be better, you want the board to be harder, you want it to be more beautiful. But on the other hand, you want to start features as well that will take you to phase 2, to the scooter phase. And then you want to also to build features that would get you to the third phase. And this is one kind of balance that we have to do in terms of the features we build. So first thing, we look at the backlog and we ask ourselves, which features are going to help us create a better skateboard, a faster horse, as I gave the analogy earlier, and which features are going to help me to improve to the next level of the product, to the scooter, to the bike, motorcycle, and then the car. So this is the first kind of categorizing we're doing. What do you think about it, Francesco?
Yes, I like this analogy. Okay, I like this analogy. I think what really shows to me at the first impression is that I'm always moving. At least I have something. Because if you have just a wheel, I don't know, it's very hard. If you have a bicycle, for example, it would have been useful for me when I've been in San Francisco. Instead of going by feet, at least having a bicycle, maybe I should have get one. It can really make the difference between going by foot, by feet with a wheel in your hand, and using something which is like that's the difference. So I like it. I like the analogy. Of course, it's a bit different in real life, but so we're talking about continuous integration, also continuous deployment. I think that the key feature is also that if you arrive at a moment when you are at least let's say selling skateboards, you understand how the market works. You can have some friends who come and they try that. They say maybe we can try to. You can even sell skateboards and bicycle for a moment. Like we have two versions of the same app. Okay, so but at least you are doing something. Otherwise, you are always aiming at that ideal point, but you'll never reach that because you don't have the feedback of the people. You don't get any money. I don't know. If you're a billionaire, you can do that. We always say this. Like if you're a billionaire, you don't even need maybe Daily.dev or maybe other features because okay, I just sit on my couch all day long. I'm very lucky. I can do whatever I want. I cut my grass and I'm okay. But we're always talking about saving time, doing something in an efficient way, because this is what Daily.dev is about, creating something efficient that can help everyone, all the developers. So that's the final goal, and I like that. I don't know if you have any more slides to show, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. By the way, this is not prepared at all. This is just my mind, which is just crazy. Nice.
Yeah, so this is one way to think about our backlog, right? So we want to create some kind of ratio between features that you can see the immediate impact, that they help you create a better skateboard, and features that you will only understand in the future once you get like the entire picture. Then the second type of categorization is to categorize by and prioritize by impact. So in that sense, there are features that create huge impact based on the data that you see. And there are some features that can create huge impact because a lot of people asked for it.
Yeah.
And it brings up the questions like, how do you define impact?
Yeah, and for example, this is really confirms also what I said like 1 minute ago, that if you don't have any feedback, if you don't have any data, how can you know what to do next? You don't know. You have to improvise. You have to be. I'm talking about prophets in that case. In that case, they're not developers.
Yes, it's just it's about intuition. There is a lot of intuition in the beginning, but you have to test it. And if you don't test it, you never know if it worked or not.
Yeah, the problem is that maybe you just stepped in the wrong direction. So maybe you are trying to create something that maybe you have to go back, and it's super hard if you don't show as soon as possible. Yeah, I don't know. I know it's hard because maybe you can have some hard feedbacks, but it's better than waste 2 years of your life. I don't know. So.
No, definitely, yes. Definitely. And so another way is that we try to look at our backlog and understand like what will create impact on our community, what would create a very positive improvement on our user base and our metrics. So the second part is, whenever we want to introduce and we want to build a new feature, the first question that we ask ourselves is, what kind of thesis do we have around this feature? And the thesis is some kind of an idea that's combined with a feature that should improve a certain metric. So I'm just going to give a very random example. So let's say that my goal is to encourage people to read more content on Daily.dev. Okay, so, and I have an idea that that for people it's really important to understand when the content was published. What was the date where this content was published around the web? So I have the metric, which is how many articles are the users reading, and I have the idea. I'm going to add a date on the content. I'm going to show when it was published. And my thesis is that by showing the date, people will read more content. All right. So this is how we think about features. We have the metric and we have the description, and we want to see if there is any kind of connection that makes sense logically between these two. This is the first step. The second step is we're trying to do some validation. So as I mentioned, my thesis is that if I put dates on the articles, more people will read them. So the first thing that I do is I want to see if I already have some data that can prove or disprove my thesis. So if I had let's say, an older version of Daily.dev with date and another version without date, I might want to go ahead and look at the data, which version encouraged more people to read. But if I don't have this data, what am I going to do next? I will have to create some kind of an experiment. And in this experiment, I'm going to split our community into two. One community will see the current version of the product, and the other part of the community will see a version with dates. And then we can compare and understand whether the date really helped us encourage more people to read, or it didn't help us encourage more people to read. This is a very simple concept, but in the implementation, it's quite complicated. Now, going back to the original question, how do we choose features? We're trying to choose features that have the strongest thesis. So we're looking at the metric, and first we decide what is the most important metric for the company, and then second, which features we think have the best chance to drive this metric upwards. And if we already have historical data, we validate it. And if it's already validated, this will be in higher priority compared to other things that are not validated. So this is the general framework. It's a little bit complicated, and it's comprised by a lot of different aspects. But at the bottom line, again, we're trying to split building features that makes the current version of the product better and features that are creating the next version of the product. And within those features, we're trying to understand which one are going to create the biggest impact on our customers.
Nice. By the way, these things that like you test something on at least two groups it's maybe easy to say, but not super easy to create, because you have basically two versions in production. So you have to work to reach this point, even just to reach this point, and then you can test, make A/B testing, make all the tests that you want. But let's remember that when these things are alive, they can have bugs, problems. They're not just that you deploy and you can't sleep basically if you want in this job. Yes. So yes. So this is nice, Nimrod. Very good. Okay. So do we have, for example, an example of something that we would like to deploy in the future, or maybe something more? Can you tell us something more? I don't know if you have something else to share about these upcoming features, and let's see if you have something else.
I think that one of the greatest examples of the difference between a feature that helps the product become better in the future and a feature that helps the product become better now is coming actually from our community. So one of the most requested features on Daily.dev is to get custom shortcuts. So as you know, Daily.dev has a browser extension, and whenever you open a new tab, we show you the best developer news. And when we take over the new tab, we obviously lose some of the functionality of, let's say, Chrome's default tab. And in Chrome's default tab, you see the most recent visited sites or some custom shortcuts that you added on Chrome. So in Daily.dev, we also have the same feature. We have the option to show you the most visited sites, but we still don't have the option to let you edit the most visited sites. So if you want to change certain link and to put another one and to curate your own, it's still not possible in Daily.dev. So this is a feature that clearly would help the product become better today, right? It's a very small, relatively small effort, and it's really requested by a lot of people. So it's very easy. We just go ahead, we decide to do it, and we ship it. Another example, on the other hand, is that we're now doing a complete makeover to the UI of the product. We're creating a new layout for the product, and a new layout for the product is something really massive. So In the next version of Daily.dev, you're going to have a sidebar. And in this sidebar, it will be much easier to navigate between different feeds. It will be much easier to discover a lot of the stuff that Daily.dev has to offer. And this is a great example of a feature that doesn't give any immediate value, right? It's just a new layout, a new way to navigate in the product. So for me as a user, it doesn't make a lot of impact. But when I think about it from the product perspective, the new sidebar will allow us to introduce a lot of new features, a lot of things that will be in the next phase of Daily.dev, in the future of Daily.dev, that without this sidebar, without this kind of digital real estate, we will not be able to have enough flexibility. So this is the kind of balance that we're trying to do, building some kind of infrastructure for the future, if you would call it, and improving the efficiency of the current product.
Yeah, just let me tell you that I disagree on the fact that the change of a UI is not a big feature that has a big impact. For me, it's the opposite. If you change all the infrastructure, this is why I'm always said that I always cry when I go to bed, that if you change the whole infrastructure with containers, nobody notices that. If you change the color of the front page, everybody says, "Oh, this is amazing." So you have the opposite perception, to be honest. As a user, this is basically, it creates a total different perception. Yeah. Don't make me mention any operating system on other stuff, but sometimes you just make the icons a little bit rounded and say, "Oh, this is amazing." So
yeah, but this is an actual thing. Now you're talking about not only about how to choose features, but how people perceive perceive effort. So sometimes there are features that are built, let's say, in the backend, that they create super fast website and with great content recommendation and things that the companies invested millions of dollars and the best engineering minds to build. And then when they published a new icon with a Christmas tree or with a Santa Claus head, the hat, so all of a sudden everybody's happy, right? So just changing the icon made a huge impact, but changing the entire backend didn't mean anything for everyone.
And this is why we will lose some backend engineer which just will cry in their beds, and I am one of them. Yeah, see, also on YouTube, you can have some problems on the ads. So this, I don't know if this should make us feel good or bad, but that's it, because there are so many resolutions, so many. Now there are also all the mobile stuff, because maybe if you coded like 30 years ago, you didn't need that, but there are so many resolutions now that it's very impossible to fit them all. Yes. Yes. So okay, so this is great, Nimrod. Other questions about the features. So, for example, do you remember a feature that maybe changed in the past, that changed maybe Daily.dev, a specific feature? Do you have something in your mind? Something that's okay, this feature maybe it had not the expected result. Maybe you can also say if that was good or bad. You can choose. You know everything about the story.
So one of our very big famous failures actually is when we try to launch a premium version of Daily.dev. So users that have been with us for a very, very long time, many years, they know that Daily.dev used to have a pro version. We had a free version, we had a pro version. And as a matter of fact, the pro version didn't work good at all. And it all came down to a very basic reason, that the pro version didn't solve any new problem or anything that was really important. So we had a lot of really cool features over there, but nobody ever used them. So that was a big shame. And at one point, after several months, we just decided we're going to take it down. And some of the features we kept as free features. We just opened them for everyone. And some features we just killed. So for example, there is one feature that we used to have that all of a sudden now people starting to ask for it again, is the ability to organize your bookmarks in folders or in some kind of lists. So right now in Daily.dev, if you see an article that you want to save for later, you need to click on bookmark, and then you have just one list of all the articles that you saved. But some people in our community, they have hundreds of bookmarks or thousands of bookmarks, and they want the option to sort it in different lists. And this feature existed actually in the past, and we killed it because nobody used it. So this is a really, this brings up really interesting questions, like what happens if people ask for a feature and then not use it? So how do you actually choose what feature to build? And it goes back to the very basic point where we started. What kind of problems are you solving? And then many times when we speak about solutions, we speak about what we want to get and not why we need it. So whenever I hear a new feature request, I try to understand why they need this feature, because to create bookmark lists, this is a solution. It's not the problem. The problem is that you have too many bookmarks. And perhaps there are other solutions for that problem. So jumping directly to the solution is not always such a good idea. You want to evaluate the problem first, think about all the possible solutions, and then pick the most effective one.
Nice. So yeah, I like this. Maybe, I don't know if you already told me this, maybe in the past, or maybe I don't know. My memory is like less than 1 week long. Yeah, I always lose. My arguments with my girlfriend. So yes. So okay. So let's talk about the next year and the next feature. Hey Malal, how are you? How's it going? So, by the way, there is also a link in the pinned comment that if you want to ask for a new feature for Daily.dev, the best place, what we are trying to work on, is to use the GitHub Discussions, which I think that is one of the best features of GitHub, but nobody uses that. So this is also another example of a feature which is, I don't know, maybe not used that much, and I don't know why. Probably because I don't know, people just go on GitHub. Well, maybe they've added this later. Hey there, hey Hamad, how is it going? So it's funny that we are talking about a feature not that used on GitHub, but
Yes.
we have that, and it's useful because this is where you can discuss about, you can talk about, and we are already on GitHub, so it's great that you can link to issues. So it's great instead of having something totally separate. Yeah. So from your point of view, on Nimrod, on these GitHub discussions, nobody will link this now. Yeah. What do you think about this? Let me post this here.
I think this is a very great way to interact with us and let us know what you think and what kind of features we should build. Let me share my screen really quickly and show how it looks like. I'm not sure how many people have used GitHub Discussions in the past.
Yeah, because at the moment we get many people are asking features, but of course in different places. So we are trying to solve this problem, for example.
Yes.
There we go.
So
maybe you can make this a little bit bigger if you can.
I will try. Let's do it a little bit bigger. All right, cool. So we are now on the Daily.dev repository, and usually people go to the issues and they post their feature request here. But there is a new feature, a relatively new feature on GitHub called Github Discussions, which is an amazing place where you can have surprisingly discussions. And this is where you can just submit feature requests. You just click here on new discussion, you suggest a feature, and then we can see it. We can start working on it. We can consider it. So for instance, let's say we're going here to sorting feature for the reading history page. So we have someone here that is explaining what they want and what kind of solution, and then our team can engage and can say, hey, this is what we think about it, we're going to build it, we're going to put it on hold, is it accepted, not accepted, etc.
So, can you zoom maybe a bit?
Yes, of course. So this is just an example of one of the feature requests, and it's very easy to submit it. Everyone who is using GitHub can nail it in no time. So I really think this is an amazing place to interact with our team. So here, let's say we have a request to add in-app notifications. We have another request to add web mention support. So any kind of feedback or any kind of feature request can go here, and then our team will take a look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hamad is asking about something about the product. He says that when he uploads an article, it opens a box to add a comment that is irritating. I don't know. I don't find this irritating. I think that a lot of people, they like that because it's useful if you want to leave a comment without opening the article. So this is a problem is this, that of course in all the products there are maybe someone which likes something, but you can discuss about this. Maybe it's a feature removal, but you can go there if you're really interested into this feature, this change. Like you can disable that from the settings. You can propose something. You can propose a solution. We're also an open source project, so you can also try to develop that if you're a developer, for example. I don't know why this emoji, but I think it's surprised about the GitHub discussions. I don't know. Maybe it could be that it's the first time this is that, but I can be wrong. So
Ahmad, I really strongly encourage you to go in our GitHub discussions and suggest the disable feature. This is a really great idea, to have a setting so that people can decide what kind of interaction they want. Definitely go ahead and submit that.
Yeah, to be honest, it's the first time that I heard that, but this could also be an idea. Yes, we want to stress out that we are really open to the community. I think more than having all the project open source. On Twitter, I reply to all the people that I can. You can contact us directly on messages or whatever you want. We have the type form, so you can also insult us in the type form. So we are trying our best to get feedback. Can you say this at least, Nimrod? We are trying. We are not
we're
hiding.
doing our best.
We are here putting our face to face with the CEO. So this is what we can do. It's I think that jokes aside, this is a great strength of Daily.dev. This is I honestly think this, that having the courage also to put out your face, talking about your product. I don't know how many people can brag about being so open. So I hope that this is at least good, especially for developers, because developers, let's say, that are usually smart people. They like to know how a product works. They like to even nail down, try to find the bugs. I don't know. Maybe it's in our nature, so it's funny, but it's a great community. We can say this. Developer community is amazing, and I'm proud, and I've discovered this since a couple of years. The Twitter community, everybody, and I can say that 99.99% of the people that I met, they are good people. So it's good. It's a good statistic for me.
Definitely. All right, Francesco. So thank you very much for having me today. It was really a blast, and the best thing about it is that it's recorded, so that everyone can see it in the future as well.
Yeah, this is amazing. I like this that we are doing this. I think that we're not talking about JavaScript in this, but everything is in the description. Thank you, Nimrod. So I don't know if we need to work maybe if we do another episode, but I like this weekly event, which is not really scripted, so it's literally us like working for 1 hour publicly instead of offline. But probably would have been working anyway on this feedback and other stuff. So it's literally to show this side. I think it's nice to show this behind the scenes and also explain, because, for example, now we are working on getting the new features, and so we have the idea of this live stream. So the live streams ideas, they come from what we do every day. We are not planning this to create some huge stuff and shocking stuff. It's literally what we are doing. But I hope that this is accepted and liked by a lot of us. So thank you so much for being here again. I would like to create some event with even multiple guests. So maybe now we can try to do something. So I'm thinking about this, but maybe for the next year. Let me think about that. I'll find some good idea. So yes, again, if you want to ask for any feature, you know where to go. and you can also connect on Twitter. You can, I think that if you want to contact us, you will find a way, because we are not hiding anywhere. So yeah, we're always open to, if you want a call, if you use the product for a couple of weeks, you can have a call directly with me or someone else, even better than me. So if you're not if you're unlucky, probably you will talk with me. In the other case, you will talk with someone which is better. Love your conversation. See you next time. Thank you, UXN Web Dev. This is really why we're doing this kind of live streams, so to get engagement. You can suggest something. It's always great to have someone here. So amazing, perfect, Nimrod. We made it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I hope to meet you in real life soon. But
Yes.
until I'll not shake your hand, I'll not trust that. It's because we are in hard times, so we don't know. But let's see.
I
From
hope
now,
so.
it seems that it's gonna happen in 10 days, basically
Mhm.
tomorrow. Yeah.
10 days tomorrow.
Nice. Perfect. Okay.
All right,
we are done
Francesco.
for today.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Perfect. Bye bye.